So the Martin Oliver Transport MAN pulls into position. Let's have a look at the grid then. It is the Reed brothers on the front row of the grid. Simon on pole, Craig alongside the two Reed Freight Ivecos. Second row is Jock Borthwick in his MAN alongside Bradley Smith, the youngest man in the championship, in truck number 46. Row 3, number 69, David Jenkins. Bit of contact rather hobbled him in race 2 yesterday, but the MAN is repaired alongside Stephen Powell, the former Division 2 champion, in number 3. A pair of third places for him so far this weekend. Then the two men with 17 championships between them, Stuart Oliver in the Volvo, Ryan Smith in the Daimler Freightliner. They start on row 4, they won't stay back there for long. Row 5 is number 92, Simon Faulkner with his Iveco, and we should have Simon Cole in his MAN. He missed race 2 yesterday, so I'll make sure that he is there. Row 6, number 86, another Scotsman, Tom O'Rourke with his MV Commercials MAN. Although Michael Oliver is lined up there on the inside, I can see, with the GT Tyres MAN number 12, so we might be missing Tom O'Rourke, unfortunately. We'll check that. Ricky Collins there, though, number 95 with his MAN. Great to see Ricky's back out after blowing his engine up in spectacular fashion at Brands Hatch last time out on Easter weekend. And he starts alongside number 14, John Bowler. As we heard from Pointy, a lot of clutch problems with his MAN this weekend. He failed to start race 1 yesterday, retired from race 2. So hopefully he's going to last the distance this time. Then there's a gap, and then we've got the less powerful Division 2 trucks. Slightly less modification allowed in Division 2. Craig Evans with his MAN will lead them off alongside John Powell, number 6, in his DAF, one of the oldest trucks out there in the series. Paul Rivette, the former saloon car racing star in the Napa Auto Parts MAN, will start alongside double winner in Division 2 yesterday, Adam Bint, in his Volvo White Aerodyne. Maybe called a Volvo White after the American company that had the partnership with Volvo, but it's in a very menacing black livery. And at the back of the grid, Jim Bennett with his venerable Seddon Atkinson. So everyone in position then for our next truck race of the weekend, the first of 3 to date. The third of the weekend will be a 15-minute race. It's the Reed brothers on the front row of the grid. Now previously, those two Ivecos had different coloured mirrors, and I could tell them apart, but they both got black mirrors this week. From a distance, it's very difficult to tell those two apart. So apologies in advance if I miscall either of the Reeds. Jock Borthwick on row 2 was in Division 2 last season, his first full season of truck racing. Liveried a bit like the old Stewart Grand Prix cars, isn't it? That's MAN, the white with the tartan stripes. Don't think you could see Sir Jackie Stewart racing trucks. Bradley Smith alongside his father Tony, former competitor in a Finnish-built Sisu truck a few years ago. Bradley, only in his early 20s, the youngest man on the grid. Had some good results yesterday with his MAN, had 1 podium last season. Look out for David Jenkins, was 4th in the first race yesterday. Couldn't quite get past Stephen Powell for 3rd place, but then in race 2 he was hit by Simon Reed as they were battling it out for 4th place, and suffered some damage to the rear axle and a puncture as well. He did manage to finish, was only down in 9th place. Repairs made to Simon Reed's truck after that. Ryan Smith waiting patiently on the grid. You can see the drivers from the onboards, they steer the truck with one hand. Most of them going round the Pembrey circuit, the other hand operating the gear change. Really is an absolute art form, driving a race truck. Just been told that Simon Cole will not be racing today. Problems for him yesterday. He'll be back out at Thruxton at the next round in Hampshire for Convoy on the Plain, down in the flatlands of the south of England. Brian Davis says good luck to Ryan Smith and Stephen Powell. Thank you, Sam Morse, for the update on Simon Cole. They've lost the number 41 machine, unfortunately. To Soul 68 OU1, I think I pronounced that properly. This is different for me, normally Speedway for me. Brian Davis also says good luck Paul Rivette. And yes, you're right, one of our New Zealand viewers, yes, Denny Hulme raced trucks later in his career. You're absolutely right. Well, Denny Hulme raced everything. The 1967 Formula One world champion. Quite a few celebrity names have had a go at truck racing. Of course, the great motorcycle racers Barry Sheene and Steve Parish. Steve Parish went on to be European truck racing champion in his famous BP Mercedes. Martin Brundle's had a go at truck racing. The Grimer brothers of hot rod racing fame on the short ovals. Many more great names as well. John Creech, motorsport photographer, says it'd be fun to see drivers from other series have a go at truck racing. I asked Anthony Reid about having a go once the touring car race. Said that'd be good, seeing some of the names in the British Touring Car Championship having a go at truck racing. I reckon Jason Plato and Matt Neal would go well in a couple of these trucks. We're almost ready to get underway then. Once the circuit is clear, the marshal's just clearing up some fluids from the junior saloon cars, we're told at the moment, so just making sure that the circuit isn't too slippery. Okay, here we go then, we're off and rolling. Looks like we got us a convoy here in South Wales. As I said yesterday, I'm not going to sing the song, don't worry. Two Ivecos, identical at the front of the field. Simon Reed's had a few wins over the years in Division 1. He's been successful in Division 2 as well. Craig Reed, Division 2 champion a couple of years ago. Had his first Division 1 win at Brands Hatch on Bonfire Weekend last year. On board with Ryan Smith. This is where we saw the incident in the junior saloon cars coming out towards Spitfires. There'll be some powder down there on the fluids that have been dropped. Will we see a win for the Reed Ivecos? Could have a team race together, couldn't they, at the front of the field like that? Jock Borthwick looking for his first win in Division 1. As is Bradley Smith. Stephen Powell with one Division 1 win to his name at Thruxton last season, and his team celebrated like they just won the championship. The Reed brothers from Stoke run a haulage business. Jock Borthwick all the way from St Boswells near Glasgow. Very long journey to South Wales. Craig Evans leads Division 2. There's Jim Bennett at the back in the Sedn Atkinson Strato. Fantastic to have Jim back, the man from Suffolk. Now in his 70s and still going strong. Electing to start at the back, as we mentioned earlier. That's his truck, he admits he's not the quickest out there. But he's out there to enjoy himself. Motorsport should be fun. And we're about to have some fun with the British Truck Racing Championship here at Pembrey over the next 15 minutes. Can Ryan Smith make it a hat-trick? Can Adam Bint make it a hat-trick in Division 2? Smith with work to do from 8th on the grid. Bint starts 4th in Division 2. Revs beginning to rise. Looks like Tom O'Rourke not out there as well in the 86 MV Commercials truck. He had problems in race 2 yesterday, so a slightly reduced field, missing a couple of Division 1 trucks. Pace truck is in pit lane. And here we go, the Reed brothers lead them up towards the red lights. When they go out, the power will come on. And we'll be underway. Here we go then. With race 3 of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship. It's the identical Iveco pairing that lead the way. Craig Reed's going to go round the outside of his brother Simon to take the lead into the first corner. Bradley Smith sends it down the outside, so does David Jenkins. They make their way through the hairpin. Tom O'Rourke is there, my apologies. I missed the 86 truck there on the green flag lap, but Tom and his team have made it back out. That's great to see. Craig Evans already being shuffled back in Division 2. Adam Bint with a flying start in the number 5 Volvo. The Stuart Oliver up with David Jenkins, goes a bit wide through the crossing. Stephen Powell is on his tail. He won't fit side by side through there. Ryan Smith in behind them, just ahead of O'Rourke and John Bowler. The leaders head out onto the back of the circuit. The Reeds lead the way. Bradley Smith in third. Jock Borthwick, David Jenkins, Stuart Oliver, Stephen Powell. There's O'Rourke, the white and red MV Commercials truck. We're on board with Ryan Smith in the number 1, giving chase to Stephen Powell, the man from Kent, in number 3. Ryan Smith based in Nottinghamshire. His truck recently displayed at the showroom of his sponsors, Northside Truck and Van. David Jenkins, the champion back in 2011, under fire from the 10 times champion Stuart Oliver. Jenkins from Stafford, Oliver from Northumberland. It's the two Ivecos that lead the way. Craig Reed leads his brother Simon across the line for the first time. Somebody running wide there onto the grass. I think that was Simon Faulkner in the 92 that's gone wide. Yes, it was. He rejoins at the tail end. Leaders heading through the first part of the second lap. Out of the right at Spitfires, the left at Debeni. David Jenkins coming under fire from Stuart Oliver. Stephen Powell, then Ryan Smith, who's still back in 8th place. Tricky circuit to pass on is Pembrey. Not the widest in truck racing. They make 2 visits a year here to South Wales. There's Ryan Smith on the tail of the number 3 of Powell. There's O'Rourke, John Bowler having a better run in this one. Michael Oliver, son of Stewart's, and then Ricky Collett. Now Ryan Smith's got a run on the inside. If there's one driver who can pass at Pembrey, it's Ryan Smith, and he goes through past Stephen Powell up into 7th position. His next targets are Stuart Oliver and David Jenkins. Jock Borthwick, though, has dropped back there. He ran wide at Brooklands, lost a couple of places in the number 32 MAN. Ryan Smith may well get alongside the Scotsman down the front straights. Reed's lead over the line. Craig still ahead of Simon. David Jenkins does the fastest lap. No, he doesn't. That's usurped by Ryan Smith in 7th place. 1:11.673, and he's up the inside of Jock Borthwick into the hairpin. 7 times champion passes the Scotsman. And he making a hat-trick. There's a little bit of smoke there from the number 1, so we'll keep an eye on that. That's a problem for Ryan Smith, I'm not sure. Trying to chase down his arch rival this season, Stuart Oliver. They divided the wins between them at Brands Hatch. Ryan Smith won 3 races, Stuart Oliver won 2. Ryan Smith a double winner so far this weekend. Borthwick dropping back into the clutches of Stephen Powell. Next in the order is O'Rourke, Bowler, Michael Oliver, Ricky Collett in the yellow, number 95, the heavy haulage company boss from Yorkshire. Collett's haulage handling some of the biggest and heaviest loads seen on Britain's roads. John Bowler, number 14, his first season in Division 1. Just hoping to complete the distance this time in the Rochdale LGV driver training, sponsored at number 14. Michael Oliver in the GT Tyres MAN, the younger Oliver on his tail. Had a crash-filled season last year. Surprisingly, Ryan Smith, the new fastest lap of the race, 1:10.991. He's on the tail of Stuart Oliver, 4th, 5th and 6th. Jenkins, Oliver and Smith. 18 titles between those 3. Craig Reed still leads though, half a second ahead of his brother Simon. They I think are working together to get away from the rest of the field, build up a gap before the quicker runners, i.e. these 3 come through. Bradley Smith is still in 3rd place in his MAN. Stuart Oliver, a bit of a slide there. Was there a tap from Ryan Smith? I'm not sure. Stuart Oliver tries to hold the inside, but Ryan goes through and up into 5th position. There are the Reeds. Bradley Smith, David Jenkins is Ryan Smith's next target. Here come the brothers, and Jock Borthwick's wide on the grass again in the background. So was Stephen Powell sliding wide there. Now, are the Reeds working together, or are they going to start fighting each other? A family tie is going to be ditched here between the 2 Iveco pilots. They are exactly alike, these 2 trucks, aren't they, in every detail. I think Simon's going to try and go for the lead as they come down the straight. Simon failed to finish race 2 yesterday, so he needs to make up some points, and he's going for it into the hairpin, and he passes Craig to take the lead. We haven't forgotten Division 2 either. We caught a glimpse there of Adam Bintz, the Division 2 leader. He's ahead of John Powell in the number 6, but only just. Paul Rivette in 3rd place ahead of Craig Evans. Simon Reed has taken up the lead then, looking for his first win of the season. There's the battle in Division 2, and John Powell's got through on the hairpin. John Powell takes the lead from Adam Bintz in Division 2. They were very close as they crossed the line. It's John Powell in the DAF, one of the older trucks in the series, that leads the way. Bint's looking for a hat-trick, but he's lost the lead after that flying start for the Volvo. He's having a look back again as they go through Senna. Paul Rivette in the Taco Sys and Napa Auto Parts MAN in third position. Multiple Renault Clio Cup champion. He's had a go in the BTCC as well. There's Craig Evans behind Simon Faulkner, recovering after an off earlier on at Honda Curve. Jim Bennett at the tail of the field. Reeds continue to lead the way. Jenkins is now up into third place. Bradley Smith down to fifth because Ryan Smith has come through as well. Stuart Oliver now having a go at Bradley Smith in the 46. No relation to Ryan, incidentally. I mentioned earlier, Bradley's father Tony used to race the number 46 Sisu JU250. David Jenkins catching up. They're already lapping Jim Bennett, and Ryan Smith is now catching Jenkins for third place. They are deadly rivals, these two. Have been for several seasons now. Ryan Smith looms large in the mirrors of the Digraph Transport Morris Lubricants MAN. 2011 champion David Jenkins. Where is Ryan Smith going to try and make his move? Is it going to be on Speedway Straights coming out of Brooklands up to Carter's Curve? On board with Ryan Smith. He's trying to line up David Jenkins. Moving to the inside. Jenkins giving him room. Side by side towards Carter's Curve. He's going through. Ryan Smith up into third place. Driving by Jenkins there, just gave his rival room to get through on the inside. And now down to the business of trying to catch the two Ivecos. It's coming up to half distance in this first race of the day, third of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship. David Jenkins trying to fight back. Goes to the outside into the hairpin, lifts a wheel on the inside. Behind them, Stuart Oliver, then Bradley Smith. So Oliver up into fifth place now. Bradley Smith starting to drop back. Jock Borthwick still going well in seventh, ahead of Stephen Powell, who slipped to eighth. Then ninth is Tom O'Rourke. Michael Oliver rounds out the top 10. Here's the battle in Division 2. John Powell increasing his lead. Adam Bint under fire from Paul Rivette for second place in the Napa Racing MAN. Napa Auto Parts very much expanding into British motorsports over the last few years. We've seen them in NASCAR in previous seasons in America, now sponsoring British touring cars, Formula One stock cars, truck racing, the Mini Challenge and lots more. Adam Bint's Volvo doesn't seem to be handling too well here. He's got Paul Rivette behind him. There's Craig Evans and recovering Simon Faulkner after going onto the grass at Honda Corner earlier on. Jim Bennett gets the blue flag from the marshals to warn him that there's quicker trucks behind him. Jim, a very courteous racer, known as Gentleman Jim. He moves aside, lets the quicker runners through. Meanwhile, Ryan Smith at the inside is going for second place. On the inside of Craig Reed and the hairpin, he goes through. Can anyone stop Ryan Smith this weekend? Let's see if Simon Reed can. His lead gap was 1.7 seconds at the line that time through. Ryan Smith has got the fastest lap of the race, 1:10.9. The only driver to have lapped under 1:11 in this race. It's under 6 minutes now. He's got to catch Simon Reed. He can catch Simon Reed, I'm sure he will. Craig Reed in third place. David Jenkins looking on from fourth. These four right away ahead of Stuart Oliver in fifth, who throws it sideways there. The change for second place in Division 2. Paul Rivette has got through. Adam Bint is struggling a bit in this one. Down to third in class, fourth. It is Craig Evans. Came within half a lap or so of his first class win in Division 2 at Brands Hatch, but ran wide through the gravel at Paddock Bend and dropped back. John Powell and Adam Bint divided the wins between them at Brands Hatch in the opening round. Bint, who had the championship lead narrowly, extended that with 2 wins yesterday. Seems to be struggling a bit here. Simon Reed still had the lead as they cross the line to complete 8 laps by 1.2 seconds over Ryan Smith. Smith closed by 0.8 of a second. Across the line go Division 2, plus Simon Faulkner. Here's a replay of Paul Rivette's move on Adam Bint, and well, that might be why Adam Bint's handling's a bit off. Rubbing's racing, as they say, and they were certainly rubbing there with Paul Rivette. Whether that's damaged Adam Bint's truck, I'm not too sure. The older Volvo. Meanwhile, here are our leaders, and now Ryan Smith is right with Simon Reed. I knew it wouldn't be long. He's on his tail as they come up to Carter's, and now Simon Reed is working to defend. We're on board with the 7 times champion Fly-In Ryan. Now, where is he going to make his move? They're coming up through Honda Curve and into the Cowell Straight past the pits. Here he comes. He's on the inside. Surely Simon Reed's going to have to cede to the champion here. He gives him room into the hairpin, and through goes Ryan Smith into the lead for the 3rd time this weekend. And now, watch this Daimler Freightliner rocket away at the front. Well, with just under 4 minutes to go, it was Fly-In Ryan into the lead at the hairpin. Simon Reed powerless to resist, and look at the gap he's building already. There is no stopping Ryan Smith. Could he win all 5 this weekend? Daimler Freightliner from the 2 Ivecos. Are we going to see an MAN free podium? I wonder. Doesn't happen very often. Something's happened to Stuart Oliver, though. We missed that. He must have been into the pits. Yes, he has, because he's almost a lap down. So I'm not sure what the problem was there for Stuart Oliver. We were watching the battle in Division 2. While that was going on, Stuart Oliver has had to make a pit stop. So we'll try and find out what the problem was there. Speaking of Division 2, here they are. John Powell still leading the way in the DAF. Paul Rivett and Adam Bint. Simon Faulkner's got ahead of Craig Evans in the overall order further back there. Simon Faulkner up to 15th now. So we'll find out after the race what the problem was there for Stuart Oliver. Had to make a quick pit stop. And that'll harm his starting position for race 5 later on, because the grid for race 5 is set by the finishing order in race 3, as here's a move from Ricky Collins on John Bowler in the number 14. There's a little bit of damage on the back of Bowler's car. You can see the wheel arch is dislodged. And Ricky Collins up into 10th place. And now Craig Reed being caught for 3rd by David Jenkins. There's 2 minutes of the race to go. See how much time is left when Ryan Smith crosses the line, whether they'll get 1 or 2 more laps out of that. Here's Bradley Smith in 5th place, still running well. Jock Borthwick in behind him, so he's 6th with Stuart Oliver having dropped back. 7th is Stephen Powell, and Michael Oliver is 8th. Now, if he stays there, that will give him pole position for race 5. So the top 8 will be flipped around in Division 1. Bradley Smith has had a good, consistent weekend so far. I'd say one of his best in the championship. David Jenkins trying to get the MAN onto the podium. He knows he needs to make up ground. He's never going to get those stopped in time there, is he? Slides it round the hairpin. He's done it. I can't remember seeing an overtake round the outside of the hairpin in cars, never mind in a truck. That's incredible from David Jenkins. How's he done that? Well, maybe it's David Jenkins who's going to be driving in the truck drifting display, the way he threw it round there. Meanwhile, Ricky Collins now having a go at Tom O'Rourke, but that's the move of the season so far from David Jenkins. I wouldn't have believed that possible, getting a truck round the outside on Hatchett's hairpin. How has he done that? The MAN up into 3rd place, and that's what you call full send in truck racing. So we're coming into the closing stages now. Tom O'Rourke still holding off Ricky Collins. The battle for 9th place. Still in Division 2, it's John Powell who's got the lead, but Ryan Smith heading for victory. Across the line to start his final lap with about 30 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be a 13-lap race. O'Rourke in the MV Commercial MAN pulls away a little bit from Ricky Collins. He's done well to be here as well, Tom O'Rourke, after a big smash at Brands Hatch at the season opener, ended up in the barriers at Paddock Hill Bend. Here's our leader, Ryan Smith ahead of Stuart Oliver. Now, we've seen these two battling so far this weekend, but this time Stuart Oliver a lap down after a pit visit. Ryan Smith now nearly 4 seconds clear of Simon Reed in 2nd place. Who can stop Fly-In Ryan this weekend? I can see him winning all 5. Paul Rivette's defending now from Adam Bint, who's back on the pace in Division 2 in the Volvo. John Powell's been able to pull away, though. He's going to take his first class win of the weekend and end Adam Bint's hope of a hat-trick. Simon Faulkner in behind them in Division 1. in the Division 1 Iveco. It's one of the Reed family's old trucks, but the clock is counted down to 0, and here comes Ryan Smith. Such is his pace, he's going to lap Jim Bennett a second time. No stopping. Flying Ryan Smith here at Pembrey this weekend. He takes the checkered flag. Stuart Oliver a lap down, so Simon Reed will come over in second. David Jenkins, with the move of the season so far, takes third. Still the battle going on for second in Division 2. Paul Rivett and Adam Bint together. Fourth goes to Craig Reed. Fifth is Bradley Smith, then Jock Borthwick, Stephen Powell, Michael Oliver. That'll give him pole position for race 5. Tom O'Rourke holds off Ricky Collett for 9th place. John Bowler will get his first finish of the weekend in 11th. And Division 2 is going to be won by John Powell in the DAF number 6. Here he comes over the line. John Powell wins Division 2. Paul Rivett will just hold off Adam Bint for second place. Craig Evans is 4th in behind Simon Faulkner there, who's 12th in Division 1. Stuart Oliver finishes a lap down, as does Jim Bennett. Who can stop Flying Ryan Smith? On evidence so far, nobody. Total dominance from Ryan Smith. It took him some 11 minutes of the 15 to get through from 8th on the grid to the front of the field. From there on, he made it look easy. He built the lead gap to 4.5 seconds. But the highlight of that race, that move by David Jenkins. I thought there was no way he was going to get the truck stopped as he went around the outside of Craig Reed into the hairpin. Not only he managed it, he threw it through on the exit and got the place. Incredible. Ryan Smith with the win from 8th on the grid, fastest lap as well. Second place for Simon Reed, some 4.5 seconds in arrears, and David Jenkins completing the podium. Craig Reed in 4th, ahead of Bradley Smith. Good result for Jock Borthwick up there in 6th in his MAN, ahead of Stephen Powell, Michael Oliver. Tom O'Rourke had to settle for 9th, ahead of Ricky Collett. Good battle between those two. John Bowler gets his first finish of the weekend in 11th. Division 2 won by John Powell in 12th place, ahead of Paul Rivett, who just held off Adam Bint at the line for second in class. Behind them were Simon Faulkner, Craig Evans, Stuart Oliver after his pit visit finished down in 17th place, last of the Division 1 runners. He'll start at the back of the Division 1 grid for race 5, and Jim Bennett completing the finishes. All 18 trucks going the distance in that one. 13 laps completed by Ryan Smith. Can he make it 5 out of 5? Well, let's head down to Pointy, who's hopefully got a bit more voice back and can talk to our race winners.